And do you know how to work the timer back there? We all set? All right, so I'm ready when you are ready. Are you ready?
My name is Alessio Artusi.
My name is Nathan Dobransky. We both go to Wardmont, and this is our presentation on Java Basics. We did it for our 20% time. So what inspired us? A couple months ago, there was a Verizon App Challenge, and the idea behind this was to create a program that we had to make a concept for. We decided that we'd work with a group of people. However, after a while, when we realized we couldn't actually make the program, we decided to ditch that idea. We decided to make a program ourselves. We decided to use Java because it's a very common and easy-to-use programming language.
The original idea. Originally, we wanted to make a college management app for the Verizon App Challenge. Like he said, we realized that in the Verizon App Challenge, you don't actually get to code the app. You just design it, and they look at it. So we scrapped the idea and started working on the Java basics.
So what exactly is Java? It's a programming language. It allows us to write things to the computer, and then the computer can identify what we say and then do things according to that. It's primarily used for apps and games.
History of Java. Java was implemented in 1995 by a guy named James Gosling. Originally, it was made for coders to code special effects into their television shows. Eventually, coders realized that Java is really useful and started coding things like video games, websites, and applications. The language is also derived from C++, which is another coding language made by the same company. That's where all the terminology comes from. Here's an example of one of our codes. We're going to go through it and show you everything. So up here, you can see this is the guidelines of our code. At the start of any Java code, you want to put your imports. You want to import your utilities. Here we're importing the scanner utility, which allows the user to input data into our code. The next few lines here show the guidelines to our code. It just says things like it's a public code, so it can be used in all of our other ones, and it's static, so it terminates when it's done.
These next two lines of code are creating variables. These variables allow for doubles. Those are any numbers with a decimal. We use these for any number inputs and your answer. It then asks you what numbers you want to input and what type of operation you want to use: addition, multiplication, division, and subtraction.
Here's a switch variable. This is how you decide which operation you want to use in the calculator. So here, if you input 1 into our program, it'll add the first and second number you originally put in. If you put in 2, it subtracts them, 3 multiplies, and 4 divides them.
This next little bit of code is if you do not choose 1 through 4, aka choose 0, 5, or any other number, it will just output your answer as 0. We also have a little note in green there that says Mr. Bell is awesome. It doesn't actually affect the code, but it's still there.
Down here is what the code ended up doing. Here in the green is what the user inputted. Their first number was 2, and then their second number was 2 as well. Here for their operation they chose 1, which is addition. The code ended up outputting 4 as their answer. Week 1. Week 1, we were just brainstorming what we wanted to do. We didn't really know what we wanted to do, and this is when we decided to do the Verizon App Challenge and try to get people to work with us to make the college management app.
In week 2, we decided we'd actually start programming. We used a thing called Notepad, which is standard on every single computer, to start our code. We wrote Hello World, which is a very basic Java program, where we write a code and it outputs the saying Hello World.
Week 3, this is when we finalized our idea. Week 3 was when we didn't want to do the Verizon App Challenge anymore, and we decided to do Java Basics, which is what we're doing now.
In week 4, we ran into a ton of problems. For starters, we realized Notepad cannot actually output Java code. Well, it can, just not necessarily on the computers that we use. So we had to struggle finding a Java manager that would actually work for us.
Week 5, ironically, Eclipse is on all of these computers already. And once we figured that out, we were very happy. We were able to make all the codes we made in the previous weeks and actually try to run them and see what would happen after we made them.
In week 6, we got a little more in depth. We started working on a story game where a user could input their age, name, and all that kinds of stuff, and it would output a story with everything they inputted. We also decided we wanted to start making a GUI calculator. However, that was very complicated. We were not able to do it, so we just made a normal calculator that ran in the output.
Week 7, we made a Java cheat sheet. This shows everything we've learned in the past 7 weeks prior to this, and we made it on Java with little notes on everything. This code was really huge. It took up around like 2 pages. Here was like kind of a prototype, not the finished one. And it just shows all the terminology, how to spell everything, and what it does.
In week 8, we finalized everything we did, made sure all the code worked, finished that Java sheet, and started working on this presentation.
How we did it. We used Eclipse and JCreator as our Java managers. Even though we use Eclipse a lot more, we did use JCreator on the occasion.
If we were to do it again, for starters, we'd be aware that we needed a Java manager so we didn't waste so much time. Secondly, we would get more people involved because coding is a lot of work, and if one thing's wrong, nothing works. And it's hard to find that one thing that's wrong. And it's helpful if you have other people to help you find it.
Here are our citations.
Thanks for listening.
Any questions?
Wow, excellent job. All right, so you guys know I would normally just gush about how awesome that was, right? But because we're on a time restriction, as soon as you're done, we clap and then you just come off and the next person goes up. But wow, that was great. I got it, thank you so much. So next, come on up.
Let's take one.
Woo! Do we have an order? Do you want me to take this?
We all stole over.
Okay, we'll go in that order. Ooh, I always forget to hit this stop.